the city and the government, but now they are more going into the private sector. So we receive an email from our doctor's office saying that if you are feeling like with the symptoms, you have to call them and they will evaluate if you need to go for testing, and they will perform the test in the office in just 15 minutes because that's the new test approved
The
by the
problem is this
FDA.
test only shows the virus, the antibodies, not the virus, and so you need to have
Mhm.
got the virus like at least 6 days before.
Yeah. But at
Mhm.
least it's one sign to say, okay, you need to stay at home, you need to take care, you need to
Sure,
monitor
sure.
this kind of symptoms in case you have them. And that's the point. You can be in the lucky 17% without
Hmm.
any problems, just be one of those spreading the illness. You can be in the 60%, 62%, where people just have
Hmm.
mild symptoms or medium, not really too bad. They can stay at home. Or you can be in the 20% where you need hospitalization, or the 5% where you need artificial respirator, right, to survive. So you don't know until you get it in which
Yeah,
percentage you are.
I have a friend. He's a doctor, and he tells me that the hospital is like really crowded, and he got the virus and show it no symptoms. So he tested positive, and he was isolated for 14 days. But he didn't know because he didn't feel anything. And this is the most dangerous case when
Mhm.
like a teenager doesn't
Right.
show any symptoms and hugs, grandparents. And how are the
Right.
hospitals in your neighborhood? Can you tell me about that?
Right now, I think the governor just said, like yesterday or the day before yesterday, because news are changing so fast here, that they are in the peak right now. So they said we are at full capacity right now. We are not needing more at this point. We have enough supplies, enough beds, enough
Mm-hmm.
respirators. But if this starts to grow, then we're going to have a problem. So they are expecting the peak in the state by the end of April. And they are expecting to have backlog of 11,000 beds in hospitals and around 5,000 respirators. So again, if
Mm-hmm.
he's saying that to the press, to the people, why he is not ordering shelter in place? It is like ironic. It doesn't make sense to me. If he knows what is coming, so why he's not doing it? Just because of the economy. Sorry, but you are not really helping the economy with
Well,
that.
this is cruel, but if people die, it's not. They are not to blame because this is a global pandemic, and if not many people die and the economy crashes, they don't get reelected. It seems to be the thing here, at least in Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, many things changing every day. So today is something and tomorrow could be
Hmm.
something different.
Well, vaccines will take long. The only thing we can expect is that more and more people get immunized, and so they don't spread anymore, and then we feel a reduction in the outbreak. But it's
Yeah.
going to take long, and it is just this first part
Yeah.
is how many people we went at the hospital at the same time, and it seems that we're going to have a lot of people. So it's not the time to go to hospital if you have any other problem. Like if you hurt your foot, it's better not to go to
No.
hospital, and try to improvise so that you don't get sick there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So here they are saying, obviously, they are receiving cases of a stroke or heart attack, so any kind of accidents. But now they are promoting, so in case, for example, you have, I don't know, pink eye or maybe a
Mm-hmm.
stomach flu or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, you can just use
Mm-hmm.
telemedicine, and you will be prescribed by the video chat, and the doctor will check you by video chat, and they will send the prescription to the pharmacy, and in that case you don't have to step into the hospital or the doctor's office if you need it. So yeah, we are changing our lifestyles a lot.
And well, the only many people are having like lots of anxiety, and of course it's impossible not to have it at this moment. But what we have to believe it is that we are going to be able to make the best decisions with the circumstances that we find. Uh, that's the only thing I try to keep in mind, so that we have a hope and we do the best thing every day. And because if we keep trying to absorb information, to have control, this is never going to happen, because nobody will ever be in control at this moment.
Now, I remember one expert in the TV, he said, you need to try to just assign priorities. So right now, what is your main priority? Stay healthy and keep your family healthy. That's the first priority. What you can do in order to do that? Well, wash your hands, stay at home, practice social distance. So those things that you can control and can make a real difference right now in your day by day, are those the things that you should be worried about and do it. You don't have to worry about what's going to be happening in a couple of weeks, because we don't know. Everything can change just 1 second. But if you can stay healthy and your family can stay healthy, you're going to have like a chance for tomorrow. So that's the first concern for you.
You
and
can
only
bankrupt and start all over if you're healthy, but not if you're dead.
Yes.
So if you keep your job but you're sick,
so yeah, at the beginning, yeah, I know the case of some people, for example, the companies, a global company. So I know some cases specifically in Europe of co-workers that already were touched by the pandemic, and some of them didn't make it. So it is hard, and it is even worse, right? So why you wouldn't have a job if you don't have a life anymore? So
can you tell me if the treatment for coronavirus is free for all citizens, or if they have to pay for it if they don't have health insurance? Do you know about that?
That's a very good question. I know so far the test is free for everybody. And the treatment in this country, the medical system, the health system is very tricky and very capitalistic. And I know that by law, if you are in a life-threatening situation, they need, in any hospital, they need to take care of you no matter if you have or not medical insurance. That's by law. If they're gonna be saying, okay, because this was related with coronavirus, you don't have any debt, I really doubt. I don't think that will be happening. So I think that everybody at this point, it has been included in the health system. However, if the payments and the result of whatever will be happening later, it will be like skipped and forgot, I don't think so. I think that probably will be like delayed. They will have some kind of payments and facility for people, mostly if they don't have a job, but I don't think it will be forgotten.
Well, the point is, if you don't have like any health insurance and you get sick and you don't want to spend money and you need to go to work because you depend on that, you're not going to the hospital. And I'm afraid about this, like people getting sick and trying to convince themselves it is just the flu because they cannot stop working and they don't want to have any medical expenses, and they may be killing people around them because they can get this virus and be well enough to work, like they can feel good enough to work and keep working, but they're going to be in contact with many others, and I just fear for these others that they meet, especially the old ones.
Here, for example, one case, it was with uh, non-documented
Mm-hmm.
immigrants. So some of them, they are really afraid, to provide their information and contact a testing center, because that means they are sharing their personal information with the government, right? So they said that they won't be using that information at all for any immigrational purposes. Neither they just changed the immigrational law. So right now, if you use some benefits from the government and you are not a legal permanent resident or citizen, you will be in some point impacted if you decide to pursue an immigration process, because that is like a bad point in the
Mm-hmm.
list for you. And they said that if this is related with the coronavirus situation, they won't be taking that into account. But you have to go to a doctor and seek for help and report your illness.
Well, this.
So even the president already stated that, but who knows in the future, right?
Yeah, because they will be tracked. They can be tracked in the future. Oh, but at least it's a
Yeah,
good thing to do at this moment, and I think that,
yeah,
well, oh my God, so many different circumstances at this moment.
yeah. So it will be interesting. See how this goes.
Well, I just want you to be, safe and take care not only of your physical health but also mental health. Like it's very important. It's mandatory now that you keep emotional balance so that you have strength in case of getting in contact with this virus. So you're not weakened by emotional lack of balance.
Yeah, that's true, because that is not helping to the immune
Mm-hmm.
system neither, right? If you have depression, if you are not in a good mental health, that is not helping for the recovery process. I agree. Well, you two take care. I mean, this is not a
Yeah, sure,
goodbye. We're
sure.
still in contact, still waiting your information, and just let me so fast in the business right now that they need to take decisions. And I think that as soon as I know who will be my direct manager, I will have a conversation and just establish if we can keep this as a part of my performance goals as we originally have in the plan. So I will stay in touch
Mm-hmm.
with you, and I will keep you informed. And meanwhile, if I can help you with something or whatever, if you have any questions about what's going on in the North Hemisphere and I can help, I will be more than
Yeah,
glad.
it's so it's so. Of course, the news are not good around you, but it's comforting to listen from real people what they are really living. We got overloaded with information. They are biased. Uh,
It's so funny because I remember myself reading. I was able to find in internet like a journey of a lady living in Wuhan, because I
mm-hmm,
have been in
mm-hmm,
Wuhan before. I have a team which I'm working very closely in Wuhan, so I visit a couple of times their facilities. And I remember when this virus stuff started, I found in internet a journey of one lady speaking how it was for her to stay in quarantine, right? And he was saying, my main goal right now is just to stay healthy, is not get this virus, is not be exposed. I'm living one thing at a time, one one concern by day, not all of them, trying to not overwhelm myself. So I
mm-hmm.
remember I read it was like 8 different days that she wrote when was the peak of the illness in Wuhan and they were in quarantine. That I was like, oh boy, this sounds like a
Mm-hmm.
zombie movie, like something that is unrealistic and never will happen to anyone. And it's happening to someone in Wuhan. And now it's happening to me here,
Yeah,
which to me it is unbelievable because I never thought that that would be possible.
I have some. In Brazil, we have a very famous and respected, reputable doctor, and he was interviewed in the beginning of February, in January, I guess, about what was happening in Wuhan, and he said, "Come on, this is just a virus. There, you cannot stop, living your life normally because of that. We're going to
Mhm.
see how it develops." And this footage has been was used by the president when he tried to minimize what was happening, and then he came public and he said, "No, things change every day. You need update information, uh, reliable and information every day about this, and you need to
Mhm.
change with the world. And you have to follow it."
Yes. Well, it's like the president here. First, he said that he want to see everybody in churches by
Mm-hmm.
Eastern, and it was like probably 3 or 4 days later after he said that. He came and he said yesterday, "I know that very painful days are coming, and I'm asking you, please be
Mm-hmm.
strong." So he changed completely the message from everybody will be free of the situation by Eastern, and we're going to be in church and we're going to be celebrating Eastern in April 12th, to in the middle he said, okay, we are extending the quarantine to April 30. And a couple of days later he said, I need you strong because we're going to be facing very
Mm-hmm.
painful days and weeks. So it's like, come
But in a
on.
matter of a week, we came from like
It was less than a
400,000
week,
to
believe me. It was
900.
like
Mm-hmm.
5 days. 5 days. And he totally changed the speech. Gradually, right. Gradually. Because he started with the all
Mm-hmm.
positiveness and happiness. Then he was more like conservative. And then he was like, I need you strong." And in the company, for example, the message from our leaders, they have been, the phrase right now coming from them is hope for
Mm-hmm.
the best and plan for the worst. Hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. Yes, be prepared.
I'm taking
Uh,
notes.
so that, no, yeah, hope for the best and be prepared for the worst.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's like, wow. That's the message from our leaders right now.
At the end of this, well, will be stronger. Um, we're just thinking about effectiveness, productivity, development. We are going to change priorities. We're going to find different ways of working together. And at the end of this, what I also want is that people get more aware of what politicians have to say and when they have to say it and why they say it. And also that they get accountable for what they say. Because if it's proven that they knew how serious things were when they were trying to minimize it, the people deserve to know what were their intentions and what were the consequences of their speeches. And I think that in Brazil, much more than in US, uh, the impact is going to be counted in many thousands of lives.
Yes.
Well, I didn't want to end this conversation
Yeah,
with
that,
negativity, but yeah, in a
no,
positive
no.
way,
So
yeah.
hope for the best. Let's take just
Hope
the
for the
first part.
best. Yes.
Hope for the best. I'm not taking the last one, which is realistic and it is good because you are prepared in
Hmm.
case you have it, right? But I prefer to stay positive.
Well, Paula, thank you so much for this conversation. And whenever you want to know how things are here, or whenever you want just to talk about it, or about any other thing, if you want to have just um, um, a class on demand, just to forget a little bit about things going on there and get some distraction, I'm here. I'm available. And well,
Okay.
be safe.
It's really good. You too, stay safe, stay healthy
Hmm.
with your family, take care of them. And hopefully, as you said, this will pass soon.